All right, thank you to those of you that are already in here. We're going to be getting started at 12 o'clock, so about 5 more minutes and we'll get started. So we got about 2 minutes until we get started here. Thank you for those of you that are already on and joined. We'll get started right at 12 o'clock, so just a couple more minutes here. All right, it's just about 12 o'clock here on the East Coast. I want to thank everybody for jumping on here today for our Huddle Up webinar, where we're going to go over some of the version 3.0 features and updates we made to our platform recently. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ryan Long. I am mid-market account executive here at Go4. I have my colleague Robin and Ellis. We'll do some intros here in a second, but really just want to thank everybody for jumping on here. I'll quickly go over our agenda here. Like I mentioned, we'll do some introductions here in a second, and then Ellis is going to go through the Go4 risk mitigation. We're more than just kind of hiring a place where you're going to come to hire ATs. We're also a great resource for you as well. I'll do a quick demo of version 3.0 and then also go over some of the new features and updates to the platform. And then if anybody has any questions along the way, you feel free to put that in the Q&A box, and then we'll go over some of those at the end, and Robin will also be answering those as we kind of go along here. As I already mentioned, my name is Ryan Long. I'm the mid-market account executive at Go4. I've been here just about 3 years now. Prior to working at Go4, I worked for Next Sports, where I was the director of boys events, where I was in charge of some of the largest lacrosse tournaments in the country. So I'm kind of coming from a tournament director perspective. So if some of you on here are tournament directors, I've kind of had some of the pain points that you've had with some of your tournaments throughout the years. Happy to lend some expertise in that realm if you ever need anything from that space as well. But go ahead, Robin.
Hey guys, so it's good to see some familiar names popping up as attendees here. So thanks you guys for joining. I am the head of enterprise business here at Go4. Like Ryan, I also have a background on the tournament side of things. I was the VP of events at Next Sports, have worked in a lot of different kind of facets of the sport industry. I was a college coach. I worked on the housing side of things. I worked in the NGB world at USA Lacrosse. So kind of bring a diverse background to Go4 with a lot of different experiences. I also teach a class in sport event and facility management. And one of my favorite topics to cover in that is always risk management, which Ellis and I kind of co-teach that class. So excited to be here. I think a lot of the feedback that we got from you all kind of was the genesis for a lot of the changes that we made to the platform. So, we always appreciate hearing from you guys as our clients and users. Ellis?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ellis Mair. I'm one of the co-founders of Go4, and I'm also the Chief Clinical Officer. I got my undergraduate degree from Penn State in athletic training. I then went and got my master's degree at Boston University. My background as far as work experience goes is I was an athletic trainer at Penn State, athletic trainer at Boston University, and then I worked as the Director of Participant Health and Safety at Next Sports. Go4 was really built out of the needs that I found and the challenges that arose as a large event operator in the youth sports realm. So we were one of the largest youth lacrosse tournament operators in the country. My job was to mitigate risk for the entire company. So whether I was onboarding coaches, training coaches, doing emergency action plans, making sure our medical documentation was in line, all of those things fell under my responsibility. One of our biggest challenges was finding and hiring athletic trainers, and that's how we came up with the idea of Go4, was we wanted to make youth sports safer by making athletic trainers more accessible. So fast forward to today, we started this in about 2017, opened nationally in 2019, and now we have over 20,000 athletic trainers on the platform in all 50 states. We're really excited about our progress over the last several years, and we're extremely excited to share all of the new updates to the V3 platform with you today. So I'm going to jump right in and kind of talk a little bit about risk mitigation. I know most of you are here because you need to hire and find an AT, but we offer more than just hiring and finding athletic trainers. They're definitely a piece in the puzzle for when it comes to risk mitigation for you. And I just want to highlight a couple of our other tools that will help you run a safer event. The first thing I want to talk about is our emergency action plan generator. So what is an emergency action plan? An emergency action plan is a comprehensive, detailed plan. It outlines information that ensures the response to an incident is rapid, appropriate, controlled, and precise. There are a lot of benefits to having a very good EAP. So it's a risk mitigation strategy. If you've got a good plan in place, things are going to go smoothly. It's going to make sure you're readily prepared for emergency situations. It's going to ensure appropriate care is provided in a timely manner. It's going to also help decrease the chances of legal action being taken because the event is so well organized. All the emergency scenarios have been practiced, and everything's in place to help protect you from liability so that your response is effective and make sure that it's precise and that the patients are getting the best care on site. Components of a very good EAP include emergency personnel. So that includes you. So if you're the tournament director or if you're even a field coordinator, you are a part of responding to an emergency. We also want to make sure that you're including the contact information for all the personnel on site. You want to make sure you're outlining a communication plan as far as how are we communicating in the event of emergency? Are we calling 911? Are we calling campus safety? Do we have walkie-talkies on site? Is there a landline somewhere? You want to also make sure your emergency equipment is outlined and where it is. So where's the AED? Is it outside the gym on the wall? Is it at the registration tent inside the tournament venue? You also want to outline emergency transportation. Will there be an EMT on site with an ambulance, or are you going to have to call an ambulance and they have to come through certain gates or certain entrances to make sure that they can get to certain parts of the venue quickly? Venue directions with a map, very, very important. Roles of the first responders is another key part of it. And then making sure you also have an emergency action plan for non-medical emergencies. I don't want to overwhelm you. This definitely sounds like a lot. Your head's probably spinning a little bit, but that's why we created the EAP generator. So here are a few screenshots of what it looks like on the athletic trainer side of the platform. Ryan's going to go in depth of the inputs that you will do during the event registration process to make sure you're putting in all the necessary information. So on the athletic trainer side, they see this, but they also see all the detailed information that you've put in. So that way both of you can be on the same page in the event of an emergency. The next tool I want to highlight is our electronic medical record. So the old way of doing things was kind of pen and paper. You would hand your athletic trainer some injury reports or sometimes just a blank spiral on a notebook and have them record whatever the injuries happened that day. We created an electronic medical record to help get rid of that pen and paper solution. Our EMR is completely HIPAA compliant. So HIPAA was a law passed in the 90s the goal is to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed. You also need to make sure that you save that patient data for 10 years. So whether it's pen and paper or you have to keep that injury record on file, which if you're running tournaments or camps or clinics for 10 years or doing anything operating for 10 years, you just want to make sure that you keep all that on file, and that paper can really pile up. So having it electronically stored in a HIPAA compliant fashion is very good. It also, our EMR gives you an auditable record of an insurance claim. Sports are inherently dangerous. Some people will end up getting hurt. They might have to submit something to their insurance. And if they do, they can reach out and get a copy of that injury report. The other cool thing about our EMR is that we have a way that you can download a PDF that's available to the patient and the parent. On the next slide, there's a couple screenshots of what our EMR looks like. So this is the general injury report form, the types of reports that you're able to file. And then the last screen, you can see this is how you're able to share the medical record with the patient or the parent. This is a PDF. So when you are sent that medical record, it gives you a link to a HIPAA compliant patient portal or parent portal where they can log in, create an account, sign all the necessary documentation that they need to legally, and then they have access to their report right here. So it really makes it easy for them to take this report to the next step of care. So they're able to go to their physician on Monday or the athletic trainer on Monday and say, hey, I got hurt in a tournament or I got hurt in a camp last week. This is what happened. And this is what the athletic trainer saw that day. The last thing I want to highlight for you is that we build and take a lot of time and care to build our resources. So if you go to go4.io/resources, there's a whole list of different resources that we have. Some of them are patient-facing, some of them are resources specifically for you and your tournament. This is an example. Oh, back one, Rye. This is an example of some of the checklists and some of the helpful tips that we provide you as an event operator. So exertion, if it's really hot in the summertime, it's going to be a good idea to have an exertional heat stroke station so your athletic trainers can treat patients that might be exhibiting some of these symptoms of exertional heat stroke. We also create things like checklists, so like things that you can remember to put at your tournament headquarters. There's lots of other things that we provide too. So we also have some patient-facing resources as well. So things like signs that just say drink water. You can print these off, put them on your water coolers. You can also email out ahead of time to your participants, hey, it's going to be hot this weekend. We need to make sure you're hydrated. And here's what you need to do and how much water you need to drink. So we have lots of different resources about the heat, the cold, lightning. We're building them all the time. We love feedback from you. If there's something that you need help planning or you want some expertise on, let us know. We create these ourselves, but we also work with resident experts all over the country to make sure that we provide you with the most updated evidence-based information so you are running a safe event. So the last thing I want to touch on is the overall athletic training landscape. As you can see on the left side, this is a graph of the average hourly rate for athletic trainers. Just like everything else in the world, things have gotten more expensive. PRN works more expensive for an athletic trainer. There's rising costs on supplies, professional liability insurance, continuing education to make sure they maintain their maintain their certification. There's also such a lens and attention to safety and liability by organizations, which lead to a higher demand. We've seen some really high profile cases that turned out really well because they had an athletic trainer on site, such as Damar Hamlin or the ice hockey player at West Point. People are seeing the success that having an athletic trainer on site is, and more people want them. When I first worked in the event event space for youth sports, it was kind of rare that we had athletic trainers at some of these. Now, fast forward to today, it is pretty much expected by parents that you're going to have an athletic trainer on the sidelines. There's also additional costs as athletic trainers are transitioning to a master's degree. The cost of their education is higher. And because that they're highly educated and highly trained individuals who can help you navigate the landscape of emergency action plans, EMRs, and everything like that. The other big question that we always get is, how much do I pay, or how much should I pay for an athletic trainer? We have this website that is updated monthly, and we also have an in-app tooltip to help you with this. So the AT rate card is at go4.io/average transacted rate. This will give you a whole summary of state by state what the average transacted rate. So this tells you what ATs are working for on the platform. Also, Ryan will highlight in a little bit here that we now actually have an in-app tooltip that will tell you, if you're listing an event in Pennsylvania, the going rate in Pennsylvania is this. So it'll kind of help guide you to let you know what the approximate rate you should be posting your event as. All right, I know most of you are here for the demo. We're very excited for the demo. As Robin said, we spent a lot of time gathering feedback from you. We love feedback, so please let us know how you like V3, and we are always collecting feedback and making our platform better because that's really what it matters. We need this to work for you, so let us know how we can continue to improve the platform for you. So Ryan, go ahead and you can take away the demo.
All right, great. Yep. So I know a lot of you on here, you have either used our platform in the past and you're kind of seeing version 3.0 for the first time. Some of you have probably already seen version 3.0, or some of you on here don't really know too much about our platform at all. So this might be all new to you. So I'm just going to give a quick demo of the new process for posting jobs on our platform, and then we'll touch on some of the new features and updates that we have as well. But again, as Ellis and I think Robin mentioned already, a lot of this is just based on feedback from job posters like yourselves, but also from the athletic trainer side of things. So in this case, I'm going to create a new job. And we're just going to, I know some of you on here are from schools or medical settings. We're just going to say we're going to create a basketball tournament for this quick demo. So I'm going to select sports. Again, tournament name, we're just going to call it the Go4 basketball tournament. Sport is going to be basketball. It's a co-ed tournament for youth, middle school and high schoolers. It's going to be 1,000+ athletes. And then for those of you that don't know or use the event code, this is really just optional for you in your organization. If you have a specific way you need to code athletic training costs or anything like that, you can put in any type of code you want. So then when you can download your finance report, you can send it to your business office and it's going to have the appropriate code in there. But again, that's completely optional. So first page, pretty similar to probably what you've seen before. We'll hit save and continue. We're just going to be at one location for this particular tournament. And let's say it's Memorial Day weekend. So May 25th, that's Saturday. And the final day of the tournament is going to be May 26th on that Sunday. We're going to hit save and continue. So the address bar up here, some of you may not know this. It works right along with Google Maps. So you can also just type the name of the venue and it'll pre-populate the address for you. In this case, I'm going to use a venue that I know is right around the corner from me called United Sports in Downingtown, PA. So you can see the address populates in there, then it populates the name of the venue for location name. And we're going to be on 4 basketball courts for this tournament. So I'm going to select 4. Job contact. This is whoever the athletic trainer is going to be in touch with when they are on site at the tournament, also prior to the tournament. And if you're the one that's posting this particular job and you're going to be the one that's on site, you can always just click same as Go4 account owner. It's going to pre-populate all of your info. If you needed to add a second person, obviously you could do that as well. Okay, so for day 1, which is going to be the 25th, our shift 1, let's just say our tournament's going to start at 10 a.m. The end time for that Saturday is going to be 2 p.m. So for a number of athletic trainers needed, it's always important for you to decide what your ratio of fields or courts or whatever it might be to number of athletic trainers you're going to hire. For this instance, we're going to go with a 2-to-1 ratio. So for every 2 courts we have, we're going to want 1 athletic trainer. So I already selected 4 courts. So that means we need 2 athletic trainers. Same thing for shift number 1 on Sunday. It's going to be 10 a.m. The end time is going to be 2 p.m. And again, we need 2 athletic trainers. If for some reason you needed to add a shift later in the day on Saturday, for instance, you can add another shift, can input that time as needed. If you needed to add another day, let's say at this location, you actually, we need somebody on, Monday now because the tournament's extending, getting a lot of teams registered, something like that. You can always click add another day. And then you could select Monday, the 27th if you needed to. But for now, let's just say we're going to have our 2 days, the 25th and the 26th. We're going to hit save and continue. This is just a good page here. It's kind of like a summary page. Double check your date, your time, number of ATs. This all looks correct to me. Going to hit save and continue. All right, so the rate, as Ellis touched on a couple of minutes ago, this is a very important step. This is really the number one thing athletic trainers are looking at when they're deciding whether or not they want to apply to a job. Is, all right, what's going to be the hourly rate or what's going to be the flat rate? Ellis pointed out earlier that we have the tooltip down here. So the average rate I can see in Pennsylvania, these are transacted rates over the last 90 days is about $48 an hour. Now, there's never any sort of, I don't have the end all be all answer for anybody of saying, hey, how do I make sure I get an athletic trainer? What's the rate I have to put in? There's a lot of variables that go into it. The type of tournament you're running, the amount of hours it's going to be, how busy a weekend is it going to be? All those factors kind of come together when you're deciding your rate. In this case, since it's on Memorial Day weekend, we know that's a super busy weekend for athletic trainers. We're probably going to have to put in a little bit higher rate than normal to find somebody. So we're going to say 55 an hour. I'm going to hit save and continue. So this is one of the new features we have to the platform. We heard things from both job posters and athletic trainers alike that, there'd be a good place to have all the equipment that's going to be on site for the athletic trainers to use. So in this case, let's just say we have an AED that's going to be on site. We have a treatment table. We have ice and water. So you can check off all the equipment that you're going to have. If there's something that you have on site that you want the athletic trainer to know about, but it's not listed on here, you can always just put it in this other box here. But the expectation of all the athletic trainers is they're going to show up on site with their medical kit, their big bag of supplies, and they're going to be there to treat injuries. This is just sort of supplemental to that, whatever you're going to be offering as either, your school or your tournament or wherever it might be, in addition to the kit that they'll be bringing. So we're going to hit save and continue. Job details box. This is really for you as a job poster to just put in any information you want the athletic trainers to know about the job prior to them applying. So some things that people put in there, something like, we provide lunch, park in lot A. Basic stuff like that is a good thing to put in here. If you're running a camp and it's a week-long kind of shift, this is a good spot to put your camp schedule as well. But again, just kind of basic info. Just below that is the shift documents section. That's where you're going to upload any sort of forms or policies, anything you need athletic trainers to complete paperwork-wise prior to working for your school or your organization. You're going to upload that here. And then when the athletic trainer is confirmed to work, they're going to automatically be emailed those documents so they can complete them prior to working their shift for you. Another new feature that we added right here is the additional credential section. So as most of you probably already know, athletic trainers, when they work on our platform, they're required to have three things. They have to have their national certification, their state certification, and their PLI, which is professional liability insurance. In a lot of cases, they'll have other credentials or other background checks or clearances already. And if you require one of those to work at your school or work one of your tournaments, this is the spot where you want to add that. So when the athletic trainer is scrolling through the jobs in the area that weekend, they can see, all right, well, I need to have safe sport training in order to work at this tournament, something like that. So in this case, we're going to say, yes, we need the athletic trainer to complete their safe sport training. Okay, emergency action plan. Ellis just talked about the importance of this a few minutes ago. You have the ability to upload your own emergency action plan that the athletic trainer will have access to from their app. But if for some reason you don't have one, that's fine. The platform will help you create an emergency action plan. So in this case, we're going to say we don't have one, so we're going to auto-generate one. And it's going to look at the GPS location of United Sports. And from there, you can upload a venue map, which is very important for the athletic trainers to kind of have on site. It's going to look at all the emergency services in the area. And then this is where you can build out your contact lists, for the athletic trainer to get in touch with in case of an emergency that's on site. A lot of times it's going to be a tournament director, maybe another athletic trainer. You can build out your list here. Also, you'll see in the emergency equipment section now, it's going to pre-populate that supplies list that we added from earlier, that water, ice, treatment table, and AED. And then you can just add in, where those items are going to be at the tournament. So in the case of an emergency, the athletic trainer knows, all right, I need the AED. Where's that going to be on site? All right, it's going to be at the main tent. So build that out as needed. And then you can add any facility-specific instructions. We always talk about, hey, in case of lightning, where's the lightning safe shelter? Big one is ambulance access points. A lot of times if you need to get an ambulance up onto a field to treat an athlete, you got to know where the ambulance can get up onto that field. So we'll hit save and continue. And this really just brings us to the final page here. So you always want to give this one look over again, check out your date, your time, your location, number of athletic trainers needed, etc. And then you'll see your billing estimate up in the top right. And again, a couple of reasons why it's an estimate is, you may need to edit the time of the tournament prior to actually the tournament going on. So it's going to adjust the rate. Maybe you need to add or subtract an athletic trainer. Maybe you need to cancel one of the days because of weather. But as always, the billing estimate's going to be up there, and you're not charged anything until the athletic trainer is done working your shift. I know some of you that have been using the platform for a while know that, but those of you that are new, you're not charged that amount right now. It's only going to be based on the hours that are worked by the athletic trainer. So I've already added my payment method in here, and I'm just going to hit post. And then after I hit post, it's going to bring me to my upcoming jobs page, which we'll come back to in a second. But you can see all your upcoming jobs that you have posted in the future. But we're going to go over here to the new and improved dashboard in the meantime. So we'll go through some of the new features that we've added to the dashboard. Again, a lot of this is based on feedback we got from job posters themselves. So this first little widget we have up here is called Shifts with No Applications. So this section is going to show all of your upcoming shifts that have been posted for more than 48 hours that don't have any applications. And the reason it's the 48 hours is our data shows that most shifts receive an application within 48 hours. I think the number is somewhere around 90% of shifts on the platform receive an application within 48 hours. And if your shift doesn't receive an application during that time frame, it's most likely due to the rate that was posted. So this makes it really easy to see your shifts that are going to be coming up in the future that might need a little extra love with the rate. So let's just take, for instance, our pass, post, and pivot event that's coming up on May 11th. Right now it's posted for 45 an hour. That's probably below average for Pennsylvania, which is, I think, where we have this one. So I'm just going to click boost rate. And it gives you the choices to increase the rate by 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it might be. But if you also need to add a custom amount, you can add that in there. In this case, we're just going to boost it by $10. We're going to hit boost rate. And you can see that the pass, post, and pivot shift for the 11th is now no longer on here because it has a new rate of 55 an hour. And if for some reason 48 hours goes by for the new rate, it'll show back up on here in this section. So the boost rate feature, very important. If you're not getting any applications for a particular job, come on in here and boost the rate to try and attract more applicants. Next section here is the applicants to review. So I can see I have 2 applicants that I need to review for my Go4 field hockey tournament. So if I click on view applicants here, I can see that Susie Jones has applied here. And I can see that I have John Smith already pending. So when it says a pending confirmation, that means that the applicant, that you've already accepted the applicant, and then they now have 24 hours to confirm back with you. That's a new feature to the platform as well. We heard from a lot of job posters that were saying, hey, I accepted, John Smith to work, one of my shifts coming up, but it just keeps saying they're pending, and it was going on for, sometimes a couple days, sometimes a couple of weeks. So once you accept an athletic trainer, they now have 24 hours to confirm back. Now, in turn, when an athletic trainer applies to work one of your shifts, you have 7 days to either accept them or decline them before their application expires. Now, if the application expires, you can always, the athletic trainer can always reapply. But, we are hearing from athletic trainers as well, hey, I'm applying to this tournament, and then I just don't hear anything for, in some cases, weeks or months. So I can see here, all right, Susie Jones has applied. I can see when her application is expiring. All right, I want to check out Susie's profile before I hire her. So you'll see the new setup of the profile, and a couple things I just want to call out here is you can see, as always, the number of shifts that she's worked in general. The number of shifts she's worked specifically for your organization is going to show up here. The new thing is the reliability score. So Susie has a reliability score of 100%. And basically what the reliability score is looking at is saying, all right, Susie was confirmed to work 10 shifts on the Go4 platform. And in this case, she worked all 10 of them. So she's going to have a reliability score of 100%. If it was she was confirmed to work 10 shifts and she worked 9 of them because she had to call out from one of them, her reliability score would be 90%. So it's a good feature for you to look at to see how essentially reliable an athletic trainer is going to be once they're confirmed to work a shift for you. Another thing that we added that we heard from a lot of job posters is that they were it was tough for them to keep track of, hey, who are the athletic trainers they like working with, who are the ones, they wouldn't really hire in the future. So there's this section, would I hire again? Right now it just says NA, but I'll show you kind of where that, where you can have this be a yes or a no in the future. But this is kind of a good look at the athletic trainers profile and a couple of those updates that we made. In this case, I'm going to say, all right, Susie looks good to work this shift. I'm going to hit accept. Susie's going to get an email that's saying, hey, Ryan wants to hire you to work a shift for this Go4 field hockey tournament, and she has 24 hours to accept. The shift modifications, some of you may or may not know about this. If an athletic trainer, let's say they had to work an extra hour at one of your tournaments or at the school, and they can apply for a shift modification, say, hey, I worked an extra hour. You'll get an email, but it'll also show up here in the shift modifications. You can just approve, yes, Susie Jones did work an extra hour. If for some reason you don't get to it within 24 hours, it's going to auto accept. Another new feature we have here is the provide AT feedback. So I can see I have one athletic trainer that has worked for me in the past. John Smith worked a soccer game on the 9th. I can click review. And this is that section I was just talking about earlier where you'd say, hey, I really like John Smith. Would I hire John Smith in the future? I could hit yes or no. And then you can also type in the text box here, if you have any more feedback regarding the athletic trainer. The athletic trainer is not going to see this feedback, so you can put in here whatever you want. It's just going to get sent and stored in our database. One thing I want to point out, if there are any issues or anything you have with athletic trainers, it's always best to also reach out to contact us at Go4.io. That's our customer service team. They're the ones that are going to be able to get back to you kind of right away with any bigger issues. Also, we already looked at our upcoming job section. I'll kind of just go back to it here for a second. Again, if you need to make any changes to any of your events, it's also a good spot to see kind of what you have on the horizon, how many spots are filled, if you do have any action alerts you need to take. Drafts, if you start to create a job and for some reason you need to come back to it because you don't have the complete information yet, or you need to stop and go do something else, obviously it's going to show up in your drafts. Finance section is always going to show your previous jobs that have been worked. And if you need to download or export a CSV of all your previous expenses, send them to your business office or your accounting manager, whatever it might be, this is where you're going to do that. And then as always, if you need to make any changes to your profile, edit your payment information, that's kind of be over here on the left-hand side. So that's a quick look at some of the new look and process of the platform, some of the new features we have. So I want to kind of turn it over to Robin real quick to see if we had any kind of questions that popped up as I was going through anything.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So I answered a couple of them that were just kind of easier to throw in, but there's a few that came through that I think would be good just for you to show. So the first one is, how do I remove an athletic trainer if I already confirmed them?
Got it. Yep. So that pops up every now and then. It's, hey, so-and-so, it's just not going to work for them to work my tournament or whatever it may be anymore. I need to get a new athletic trainer in there. So I can go to my upcoming jobs. Let's just say from my Philly Alive event coming up in June, I can see, all right, I need to get rid of, let's say, Ellis Mair, and she happens to be on the webinar with us here today. Let's say I needed to remove Ellis. I'm going to see she's confirmed. I can hit remove. And then now that she's removed, I have a spot that reopened for that particular job because I need to fill 2 spots. I can see John Smith was previously on the wait list. Now it's going to show him as being applied. So if I wanted to hire John Smith, again, I could look at his profile. He looks like a great guy. I could hit accept. Otherwise, this is remarketed out to all the athletic trainers within the area since it's no longer 100% filled. So other athletic trainers could start to apply to work this job. Great question.
Cool. Okay, so this one is, if I'm running an event at multiple locations and one is not filled, can I adjust the rate?
Yep. So that's another sort of new feature we have now is selecting different rates at different locations. You know, sometimes for whatever reason, some venues just don't get filled as easily as others. So if we needed to adjust the rate, I'm going to go to my Go4 field hockey tournament, or I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. I'm going to go to my Go4 multi-location tournament here, and I can see I have two locations. I have one at United Sports, and I have one at East High School. I can see for East High School, I'm paying $45 an hour. I can see at United Sports in Downingtown, I'm paying $55 an hour. Let's just say for whatever reason, you know, I'm not getting anything filled at the East High School location. I need to increase that rate. So I'll go back here. I'm going to click edit. I'm going to go to my rate. I'm going to increase it to 55, just like I have at United Sports. I'm going to update job. It's going to say edit confirm, your changes are saved. So now if we go back to this multi-location tournament, East High School again, you can see it's now 55 an hour. So when athletic trainers are, you know, kind of cruising through their app, seeing the jobs in the area that weekend, they'll see that that one's now increased to 55 an hour.
Cool, thanks. This one is, how far in advance should I post an event?
Great question. One that, you know, I don't have the golden answer for everybody in terms of when they should post the job. There's a lot of variables that go into, you know, how far out you should be posting a job. You know, I always like to say kind of the sweet spot is 2 months, you know, because athletic trainers, they really kind of keep their schedule up to date pretty far in advance. That's not to say like, hey, if you're a school and athletic trainer called out sick for the day and you needed to post that morning of, can you still get somebody in there? Absolutely. The day before or the week of, definitely. The more time you give yourself, the better odds of you getting an application. The more athletic trainers that are going to be had not committed to another job yet are going to be available to you. So the supply for that particular job is going to be higher. So I always like to say, hey, the more time, the better. But if it needs to be shorter notice than that, absolutely do that. But the one thing you probably need to consider if you're posting kind of on short notice is you might need to bump up that rate because there's probably less athletic trainers that are available in general. And maybe one already has plans to go do a fun activity on the weekend. And it's like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'll go work a tournament for, you know, 70 an hour, but maybe if the normal price would have been 50 an hour, they would have said no. So again, there's no sort of wrong or golden correct answer, but the more time tends to be better.
Cool. Okay, we've got a lot of questions. The next one, if I need to change the start time of my event, how do I edit?
Yep. All right. So best place to do that is you're going to go to your upcoming jobs. Let's just pick one here. Let's just say this Go4 field hockey tournament. I'm going to click edit. I'm going to go to schedule. You can see my 2 days for this particular tournament here. Let's say I need to make the start time for the 25th to 10 a.m. So you can see here, I'm going to click this, make it 10 a.m., hit save. And you always want to make sure you update the job. It's going to say edit confirmed. Your changes have been saved. Cool.
And then this one just came in. How do I see a list of all of the shifts and their statuses for my jobs?
All of the lists. Say that one again.
So it's just saying, how will I see the list of all of the shifts and their statuses? So everything is going to show in that upcoming job section. That's really going to be regardless of,
Yep,
you know, where they are, that's where they're going to live.
Yeah, so the upcoming jobs is kind of going to be your go-to spot for all of that. You can click on your upcoming jobs. I just clicked into Philly Live. I can see, all right, I have 3 different jobs that are posted for the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I can see I'm one of 2 filled for this day with Susie Jones on the wait list. I have John Smith that's applied, so I'm one of 2 here. I could accept him if I needed to. And then I'm filled here on the 23rd. I have 2 of 2, and I have Ellis and Susie confirmed for these 2 shifts.
Awesome. That is, those are the questions that we got. Good questions, guys.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to switch back to our deck real quick. So if anybody needs to get in touch with us, obviously, you know, some of you on here are already working with me. I'm the mid-market account executive. My email's on here. Robin, who's head of enterprise business, or email, and then Ellis, you know, our chief clinical officer, always has great information to share. You know, her info's right there. But if anybody has any overarching kind of questions, you want to send them to our customer support team. They're very good at kind of passing them along to us and getting back to you guys as needed. So you can just go to contact us at go4.io. But more than anything, really happy that everybody jumped on here today. We're really excited about the upgrades and additions we made to the platform. You know, it's really not just a, hey, we did this and we're just going to keep it like it is now. We're just going to constantly be doing updates. So if you have any feedback regarding the platform, anything you want to see added, changes made, always send it over to us so we can talk through it with the dev team, get things added as needed. It's, again, it's not going to be a static thing. And, you know, we're going to try more of these webinars in the future. It's not always just going to be, hey, here's a demo of our platform. We have a lot of great information to share and sort of best practices to make your events, your games, your practices safer. So we hope to see everybody join us in the future. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.